In your packet, school committee members, you have just the community chat, and you have my office hours, so if you live in a place where you want to hang that up or share that, that's there for you.
Alrighty, the next part is both of us, right? Or you want me to start? Town meeting information?
Yeah, you start. I'm
I
not sure
start.
what I was going to say. So
Okay, yeah, perfect. We do have town meeting coming up on May 12th at 6:30 at North Andover High School. Please make plans to be there. It's important that the town show up to act as the legislature. It's our fun form of government that we get to participate in directly every year. Things have to go through town meeting, otherwise they can't happen. This includes approving our annual budget and any project we want to do and allocating money to the different departments in town. There's even citizens petitions on there, I think, about pesticides. And yes, Engar, the Escar, rat poison. So there's a lot of important things on there that we definitely want everyone to participate in. It's the most direct way to have your voice be heard. Of particular importance to us as a school committee, and I'm saying it's us as a school committee, and that we are supporting these things because we voted favorable action on them. There are 4 articles that matter dearly to us in particular. One is the operating budget. That will include money of 72 something?
72.2, which actually is a little bit larger because we are shifting that technology money.
$72.2 million that will allow us to do all the operation of the schools. That's not all the money we spend every year, but that is our yearly operating budget. Some of our departments have revolving accounts that use monies a little differently. That's our portion of the operating budget. There's also the capital improvement plan. These are one-time costs that have a shelf life of at least 5 years that the town will invest money in. A couple big projects for the schools this year include moving the modulars from the Kittredge School to the Franklin School, so they continue to be used because there's some life left in those, and the ones at the Franklin School are lifeless. They need some help. So it's a really great reuse of resources. We're also moving the prefabbed gym at the Atkinson to a town site to use as cold storage. It would be impossible to rebuild it, have it be used for anything other than that, but it's still a great use of that material and the building that still has some life left in it. There is also, to me, one of the biggest things that we have an opportunity to do is to pass and ask the town for approval to take out a bond to fund the building of the new Kittredge School. It is expensive. It's $79.8 million or so. We will get reimbursed from the state for 36.6% of that, or $29-ish million, over a third. That is a lot of money to come from the state to fund that building. It's our opportunity as a town to have a generational impact on what the schools in our town will look like. It's our oldest building. It's in desperate need of modernization and updating. Some have asked why not just renovate it. That was the first option that the school building committee looked at, and the cost of renovation just simply would not be feasible considering the work that it needs. So we have an opportunity here to do something great for the town that will last another 75 years. I said 4. I can't remember the 4th one on the top of my head right now.
There's community preservation. Is that the one you were thinking of?
Maybe.
We have a few, the school department has a few items that from the Community Preservation Committee. One is looking at finishing some of the field work at the high school, and the other is at the Franklin Elementary School, looking at the smaller playground. If you sort of drive into Franklin to the right-hand side, where it used to be a preschool playground when the preschool was there, Ms. Rodelsky and her team are looking to turn that into a playground for students who would benefit from a smaller play area with some more sensory activities inside, more of a neurodivergent playground, specifically to support the RISE students who are part of the Franklin School. So and it would be a really great playground that community members can use as well.
And that space is right outside their.
It's right outside
their
the current RISE classrooms. We already have the structure from the preschool. Some work was done last summer to remove some of the debris and some of the large trees. There's a little track around it, and they are doing some planting, some gardening in there as well right now, but to bring some of the structures. One part of that would be potentially to remove some of the smaller playground structures. I'm pointing as if everybody knows what I'm pointing at. But from the Kittredge School over there, that side of the Kittredge School, I can see it from where I'm sitting, are some smaller structures that I think their younger students used, and we are working with some playground consultants through the town to see if we can remove them and bring them over to that smaller area, which would be appropriate.
So a lot of really great things happening. Yes, we know it costs money. We are doing our very best to be careful stewards of the money that the townspeople have given us, which we'll hear about in a few moments from Ms. Dowd about our current status and our budget. All this is able to be done without raising taxes within our tax levy capacity, which is really important. And again, I'm saying this, we are advocating because we voted favorable action for for all these things. So I'm saying this on my opinion, but also hopefully on behalf of the school committee. So please be there, and you'll have your opportunity to speak out against it as town meeting allows us to do so. And then we have a vote.
And I know there have been some questions about Kittredge School. I would encourage folks to please, if you have the availability, to attend the building committee meeting at the senior center on May 5th. And if not, please consider coming to my office hours. I'd be happy to answer questions about what you might have in terms of the existing schools in our district and how we're going to handle the opening of Kittredge School. So there are some opportunities for you to come ask questions.
Furthermore, if you need more information, we produced a video that should be out there soon.
Yes, I've been anxiously waiting for the final. We've had the first cut through, and anxiously waiting for the second, the finished copy. It's a great video. It's put together by members of the school building committee, as well as some former Kittredge students came back to talk about why they think it's so important to build a new school. So you'll get to hear a little. And our architect has a segment that talks about the school, about the design of the school. Our town manager, Melissa Rodriguez, and our Phil Collier from the committee that has been the building committee that has been working with us. I'm losing my word right now. They are part of the video, and they talk about the cost and how we arrived at the cost and some of the structures within the building. So it looks to be a great video.
Phil Palumbo from Collier's Project Management.
Thank you. Project manager was what I was looking for.
Also, in general, all about town meeting on the warrant, Ms. Lathrop and I sat with Mr. DeSalvo, Town Manager Rodriguez, Mrs. Phillips, and Mrs. Allen from the Select Board and the FinCom, and we taped a segment that will be available on CAM or NACAM about just what's on the warrant in general. We talked about all the different things that will be discussed at town meeting. That should be up probably next week. We do have a website about Kittredge. Please go on that. Lots of information, presentations, and all the materials are available. Town is putting out article of the day highlights. If you're not getting those in your inbox, please go on their website and sign up for notifications from the town. I get them every day. I'll be sending out my own ones in regards to the school particular articles next week, so you can look forward to those. And again, Kittredge Elementary School Building Committee is presenting at 10 o'clock on May 5th at the Senior Center. So please be there. I think that was all the things.
Good job.
Thank you. Alrighty. Presentations. We are going to move our budget status update up in front of the music education presentation, so Ms. Gale can attend to some family business. But based on what I read in our memo, this should be a fairly quick and easy thing.
Yep. To the members of the committee.
Did I say Ms. Gale? Ms. Dowd.
To the members of the committee, you're just going to have to sort of go through your packet a little bit, since we moved it up at the sort of after Michelle had already put this together.
And I appreciate the flexibility, and this should hopefully be very short and sweet. So we did put together a memo. We did, so according to the memorandum of agreement between us and the town, we typically meet on a monthly basis, but we had quick conversations with the town because we are on track. So this month we're sharing the memo with everybody pretty much at the same time, and the town manager was fine with that. So we didn't actually have a formal sit-down meeting, but we did have the communications. Great news is that we are still trending on target for the budget, coming in within our appropriation. As we get closer and closer to year end, I can't believe we're down to the final 2 months. We're having great conversations with everyone. We've Still meeting with all the administrators and the principals to really scrub everything. I'm now doing what I call dial for dollars, call all your vendors, make sure we have all our invoices so we don't have any surprises. You never want to be the person going to town meeting to pay an unpaid bill. Working very closely with curriculum, special ed to make sure we have everything, addressing all of our needs, getting everything covered. I will say we continue to do really well with our homeless transportation. I spent a lot of time with Lucy going through it. We've had a lot of very great news, a lot of students that are no longer being transported for homeless, so great news for that. And what we have been doing, and you can see I continue to do the roll forwards, to the extent we know we're going to have savings, we're meeting with people internally to put that money to the best use possible. Last meeting, you guys approved, I'm gonna say GEMS, the math curriculum, hopefully I said that.
GEMS, yeah.
At GEMS. We were able to take savings from the homeless transportation to allow us to purchase that curriculum so we can do all of the professional development. So everything we're doing is incredibly thoughtful, strategic to make sure the money is being used in the best, with student focus always at the forefront. We're doing great with our out-of-district tuition. We've again had great success stories of changes where we are pretty confident that we'll be at 100% carryover of our circuit breaker at the end of the year, which is phenomenal for us going into next year. I think that will help people feel more comfortable with how we built the budget, because we did get to the 100%. To the extent we do have any additional savings, we also have the option to prepay tuition. So if we get to that point, we'll come back and let the committee know what we're doing in that regard. It's the one area under Mass General Law that you're allowed to do. So again, it affords us opportunity for next year to make sure.
Usually if you don't spend down your budget, it goes back to the general fund.
Yep.
But in this case, you're allowed to prepay out-of-district tuition
Yep.
before it goes back to general
Yep.
fund.
And again,
Thank
it
you.
gives you a little bit more comfort going into next year in case things change. We are monitoring salaries as well. I did put a note in here that as we get closer to the end of the year, we're able to more fine tune it. So to the extent we continue to have open positions, we may have some salary savings that we know now that we're far enough into the year where those are. So we anticipate at the next meeting, we may come back to the committee to ask if we can transfer those funds into expenses. So again, we could look at strategic purchases. So overall, we're doing very well. I just have to thank everyone for spending the time they spend with me every month, when sometimes I have to be mean and say no, but it's been a great experience. Pam and I talked about it earlier today, that I think we've really hit a good rhythm with it, so. And there are no transfers and no changes to the grants
I
this month.
will say, I looked at today's memo and then I looked back at because I just searched for budget update status ones, and the first one that came up was our January 26th in my drive. And I looked at the number, the projected there, and there is a difference between the two projections of $1,355, or 0.002% in terms of your projection. You have been spot on, which gives me a whole lot of confidence in that we are being careful with our money, spending it at the right place, and we are being diligent about tracking it, so that people can, when people ask, what are we spending our money on, we can say this and know that that's true and real. So thank you.
We are very lucky. Ms. Dowd is very good at what she does.
Yep. That's all I had.
Anybody else? Great.
Thank you, Ms. Dowd.
Thank you for the flexibility.
No problem. All right, music.
My beautiful friends, we've joined.
Mr. Nelson, Mr. Landry, welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
And we are 5 minutes ahead even.
Oh, how exciting.
My youngsters have had the benefit of having you both during their music careers at the Atkinson, and then I think you only had William, Mr. Nelson, in trombone and percussion. But they learned a lot through the music education. I think it's something really important and valuable that we do here. So I'm excited to hear all about the program and what happens over the time that our kids get to experience it.
It has been an absolute honor to work with Mr. Nelson and Mr. Landry putting this presentation together. You see the number 42 in the corner. That is the number of years that they've dedicated together to the North Andover Public School System. And you can see there's only 2 of them. So I'm not as good as Miss Dowd, Miss Gale, but I'm pretty good. When I taught school, I had a class of 25 to 31 students when I taught elementary school, and if I had a reading group now and again, I might interact with 40 students a week. Collectively, these 2 gentlemen interact with over 1,000 of our students a week.
Wow.
And then over 1,200 students a year that they have impact on. So it is my honor and my privilege to work with them. It is my honor and privilege to ask them what they need and ask them what they wanted to share with us tonight. We had originally started as a fine arts presentation. It just happened that Mr. Landry and I was able to meet with Mr. Landry and Mr. Nelson first because I really felt like music needed its own spot. And I've just learned a lot from the both of you. Thank you very much. And we are very lucky that you're here with us. My children have benefited as well. And so, absolutely. Again, rooted in our district goals around HQIM, multi-tiered systems of support, and budgeting and equity. Our music teachers interact with over 1,000 of our students a week. And so they have a very large impact on our student population.
All right, so with that, I think we'll get started. So I am Ryan Landry. I have taught, I'm celebrating my 20th year teaching in North Andover. I've taught at Atkinson. I did teach at Kittredge up until last year. And I taught at ABCC its first year, and I'm back there again this year. And part of the reason why I am the one who's here tonight is I also have a role as the FCI, the Facilitator of Collaborative Inquiry for the elementary music teachers, which basically means I set up their PD and I'm kind of a point person between the administration and the teachers. So we're very proud of what we're doing. I'm very excited to be here tonight, actually, because in my 10 years as the FCI, this is the first time I know this is the first time I've ever gotten to talk to the school committee at a meeting. So
I have been trying for 4 years to get you all here. I would just like to say.
So I'm very happy that you've invited us. So thank you so much. So as you can see on the board, we're going to break each section down into structures, celebrations, and recommendations. And we're going to run the K through 12 gamut for each one in a row. So we'll start with structures for the K through 5 elementary music. So I wanted to start, like you probably know, Mr. Hicks, as you were singing the Snowpan song as you come in, most both the administrators and families in the district probably see us mostly through our performances because that's the most accessible way that I think we're shown in the public. But I kind of want to unveil what's happening behind the scenes. So in elementary music, we have 4 music teachers. We have a 1.0 position at Sargent, a 0.8 at Franklin. I'm another 1.0, but I'm split 0.5 at Atkinson, 0.5 at the ABCC. And we also have a 0.5 at Thompson, who also actually does the 0.5 library at Thompson. So that's like a split position, but he's 0.5 music. And the first 3 positions, actually I think the newest of the top 3 has been here for 15 or 16 years. So we're all 15 or 16 years plus. And the music teacher at the Thompson is new to elementary, but he's been in the district since, I think, 2019. So we all have some experience. And from our perspective, we have collaboration once or twice a month. That's the only time we really get together. We have a period in the morning that happens every 5 to 6 weeks where we get to see each other for maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And then on those 2-hour PD days in the afternoon, we usually get that full 2 hours to be together. Currently, in terms of space this year at elementary, this is only the second year in the 20 years that I've been here that all of the schools have a dedicated music space. Kittredge was always back and forth. They only had 1 year where they had a dedicated music space. Thompson's gone back and forth. It's a little more consistent in Franklin and Sargent. But And part of that actually is that ABCC travels to Atkinson. So my music room at Atkinson is actually my music room for the whole week. And I have my Atkinson kids come down, and then I go get the ABC kids and walk them through. There's like a little overhang so we can walk over, even on rainy days like today.
And Mr. Landry is downplaying his talents. He walks 14 classes of kindergarten students from their homeroom to his music room at Atkinson every week. And so
I actually
he's like,
love
they
it.
come on down. Yeah.
I love it because
I
you
love
start every class with a movement break. So you get a
Exactly.
little bit of that energy out before they come in.
I
But,
was at ABECC today. I'm not sure you saw me, but I was in Ms. Goddard's office, and I saw you with walking your line.
Yep, walking my life through.
I'm picturing
So-
like the Pied Piper.
So, yeah, and then in terms of, we have shared objectives, but our implementation that is varied because obviously, like I said, we have different spaces, we have different budgets, and because of that, the way we implement what we do is different, but we have the same objectives. And so that was a lot about like what the structure is for us as the staff. The next slide I have is what the students see. So all students have music once a week for 45 minutes, with very few exceptions. So the 45-minute block is music class. All students participate. I talked to the other music teachers this week, and I found out actually we have a couple of sub-separate programs where they actually get to come with their class, and they also get a sub-separate program. Their sub-separate class also comes. So there's actually some students who have 2 music classes a week, which honestly I didn't even know until we started doing this presentation. Once again, I'm going to reiterate that we have different resources in different spaces. So the students get a fairly similar experience, but depending on where they are and what materials they have, it's different. On the bottom there, we have a curriculum that's written out that is much more than what you see on the board. But this is our top level, these are our essentials, what we try to get through for each grade. So in kindergarten, it's about matching pitch, which means like if I sing a note, you can sing the same one back. Steady beat, keeping a beat, singing as an ensemble. That's our top level for kindergarten. For first grade, pitch versus volume. Lots of kids will say, oh, that's high, when they really mean loud. Trying to help them understand that high is up here and this is loud, so that they understand the difference between those things. Seems simple, but takes a while. Echoing, easy rhythmic patterns, and then into second grade, now we're starting to do some notation. Song form is basically like the structure of the song. Most songs like on the radio would be a verse and a chorus. And then third grade, we start doing staff notation, being more expressive when we're singing. Fourth grade, we've started ukulele in place of recorder, which is what we used to do.
Thank you.
So,
On behalf of all fourth grade teachers and parents.
yes.
Thank you.
And in fifth grade, we start connecting that to the real world. We do more music history and stuff like that when we get to fifth grade. So there's a video that hopefully is going to work next. And I'm going to I'll let you know what's going on in each one of these, but it should match what's going on. So this is steady beat in like a younger grade level, one of those kindergarten, first grade classes. This is a game where we're actually doing different volume, where the kids sneak up, we sing quiet, and then at the end we wake up the bear with a loud up. So we're learning that different in volume.
All right, 3 guesses.
The next one is some steady
Really
beat.
fun.
I didn't ask him to do that. Some kids said this is really fun. That was not. Here's another singing game. So this is basic notation. It's not actually music, but you actually have 8 notes and quarter notes that we act out with rhythm sticks. This one is talking about form. When the song changes, we do a different movement. So as the song, each section has a different movement, so the kids understand each section of the song. And this is recorder, which we used to do, and actually Sergeant still does. But we've trained all the district now does ukulele.
1, 2, ready, go.
This is the Thompson School song.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is dance. We also do dance in all the grade levels. This is ukulele. And this is at Franklin doing Everyday People. So that's just a little bit of, I mean, you see the concerts, but we wanted to kind of show in the classroom what's going on. So that's a little bit of a taste of what's going on behind the scenes in elementary music. And then Mr. Nelson's going to talk about NAMS in the high school.
All right. Before I started on NAMS music, I also want to say a big thanks for having us in here tonight. It's something haven't done before, and it's really nice, frankly, to be asked to talk about what we do. So I'm just really excited. And thank you to Kim and Karen from NAMA for being here tonight. They've been huge supporters of music in North Andover since I've started here practically. I had way more hair back then. So just really a huge thank you to you guys for being here. So at the middle school, I just have some pictures here kind of showing some of the different things that we do. In the top left, that's Miss Liakis, who is our chorus teacher at the high school. I'm at the middle school, and Mr. Ines and myself also teach chorus and acting as well. They have sung at a Bruins game before. They sang at the Celtics today, which I'll talk about a little bit later. At the bottom left, that was from November for our Sing for Savannah concert that we did in November that we were doing. Savannah was in chorus that trimester, and we kind of dedicated the concert to her. The middle picture there is a jazz band, which I really enjoyed doing one of our extracurricular activities at NAMS. And because the North Andover Music Association, we're fortunate to be able to bring in a guest artist every year to work with our students. And then some band is a concert band there with Mr. Ines, and below you see a picture at the bottom right, our 8th graders performing with the high school marching band at a varsity football game, which we do every year. And earlier, Kim talked about the best communities for music education designation through NAM. It's the National Association of Music Merchants. We fill out a survey each year that asking us questions about our district and what we offer and what we do. And we've had that designation of a best communities for music education for the past 9 years now. So at NAMS, all students at NAMS participate in a performance-based class. So all students select either a full-year band, full-year chorus, or a trimester chorus, which is also paired up with a trimester of an acting class. Each class meets every other day. We run a day 1 or day 2 schedule, so we alternate those days. So every other day, they will have their music class. And we have the three full-time music teachers, myself, Ms. Liakis, and Mr. Ines, and we've all been here for over 15 years now. So we've been working together for a long time. So for the kind of the band track, every student kind of has a selection as they're coming into 6th grade of how they want to experience music. So band is a full-year class. In 6th grade, students learn their choice of an instrument. So they would learn to either play the flute, the oboe, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, or percussion. And then those students are grouped by the instrument they play in 6th grade. So all the trumpet players are in a class, all the flute players are in a class, and that's how they're grouped together because that 6th grade band in North Andover is beginning band. So 99% of the students who are starting an instrument are starting in 6th grade. So they're grouped that way. In 7th grade, we start to add in some other instruments that are available for kids to switch to that are a little bit bigger and more achievable by an older student. So we add in the low reeds like tenor saxophone, baritone saxophone, the tuba, the bass clarinet, French horn, some of those instruments. And as we get into 7th grade, we start grouping the students a little bit more together. So we'll take the brass students and mix them together with percussion, trying to kind of get a little bit more different groups of instruments. Because one of the things we're constantly trying to do in band is kind of marry the two, like, how do I personally play this instrument, and then how do I play this instrument with other people in an ensemble. So you're kind of balancing individual skills and ensemble skills. So as they get older, we tend to group them in with more different instruments groups as they've gotten started and getting more experience on the instrument. In 8th grade, band meets as a double block, so they actually have 2 periods of band for the band students in 8th grade, where the first block is like 7th grade, it's brass and percussion or woodwinds, and then the second block, we bring those 2 classes together. So there's a day 1 8th grade group and a day 2 8th grade group. And then as we get closer to concert time, for all 3 grades, they all come together and make that grade's band. So the 6th grade band, the 7th grade, the 8th grade band, and they perform together in a concert. So there are 6 sections of 6th grade band. They all come together before the concert, and during related arts time, we combine them all together and put the music together for the concert. The second option that students can take is full year chorus. So these students sing all year, every other day, and they are grouped in a specific section with Ms. Liakis. So it's one section, all the students that take full year chorus, that's the full year chorus, that one particular block. It tends to be like day 1, RA1 is when that meets. And in that class, they're performing music with mixed parts, many different groups. The class tends to be a little bit larger in size, so they can split the parts up into more groups. They focus on vocabulary, really spending a lot of time developing music vocabulary, because there's many words in different languages, especially Italian, that they need to know as they're reading music, and learning music reading and notation skills. So those students are in chorus every other day for the whole year, like the band students. And then our third option is trimester chorus, and that's paired up with an acting class. So these students will take 1 trimester of chorus, and at the end of that trimester, they will have a concert that they will perform at the end. And then they'll have, at some time during the year, they'll also have an acting class for their second part of that. Okay, now for the structure of the high school music program. So I have some pictures here showing some of the band and choir ensembles. We have wind ensemble, symphonic band, Scarlet and Black Singers, concert choir, and our Scarlet Night Marching Band performing at Veterans Day. So in the high school, all of the music classes are elective classes that they can take in band, chorus, history, theory, or sound recording. These classes meet 6 out of a 7-day cycle. So they meet for 1 period, 6 out of the 7 days. And there are currently 2 full-time teachers at the high school. So for the college prep level, these are open to anybody. Anybody can sign up for these classes. On the band side, there's a symphonic band. There's percussion techniques for percussion students. And then the percussion students and percussion techniques also will learn the percussion parts for symphonic band, and they'll play with the symphonic band in the concert. There's concert choir, which is, again, open to anybody. And then some music elective classes that are 1 trimester classes. The band classes meet all year, choir meets all year, and then we have history of rock, history of pop, sound recording, and engineering that are 1 trimester elective classes. And then we have the honors and AP classes, wind ensemble, which is an auditioned bass group. There's treble choir and Scarlet and Black Singers, also auditioned, and then AP music theory. And we have our after-school ensembles as well. We, of course, have our Scarlet Night Marching Band in the fall. There's Winter Guard in the wintertime. Winter Guard is the color guard, like the dancing and flag waving that you see in the marching band in the fall. There's a winter guard that meets during the wintertime, and they perform in local competitions. They also perform at our All-Town Band Festival concert. And then Mr. Smalley also runs a jazz band on Monday nights. And then the choirs have choir rehearsals after school as well as part of their class.
All right, so that is kind of an overview of what happens behind the scenes and what's going on in the school. The next part is the part you're probably most familiar with, which is our celebrations and times that you probably publicly see the music department. And so for K through 5, we have, each school has its own traditions, but most of them are shared across the district. We have assemblies at every school, obviously, and lots of times music is part of that. We have Veterans Day assemblies at some of the schools. Most schools have a winter concert, and then each of the schools, I mean, other than the ABCC, has a pasta or ice cream fundraiser that's usually run by the 5th graders, where the kids are serving pasta or ice cream, and they dress up, and you come in, they're your waiter or waitress. It's really cute. And then we have arts and academic nights, which usually happen at the end of the year, and sometimes some of the schools have 5th grade nights as a separate night. So our next slide is just a few of those, because you're probably pretty aware of many of these already. This first one should be the Sergeant School Song. This is the Franklin Veterans Day concert. The veterans are invited to come. And traditionally, each grade would sing one of the Armed Forces fight songs. But recently, with the addition of Space Force, they've added the whole school sing Space Force, because now they need 6 groups and there's only 5 grade levels.
Oh my God.
This was Ice Cream Night at Atkinson. And this is actually Kittredge's last year's spring concert. So you're probably familiar with things like that. And I just want to, one of the things I want to say is, I love that tonight we get to unveil what's happening behind the scenes. But obviously these things are very important too. I mean, we talk about SEL and community, and in a world that seems a little more disconnected, these I think are the things that connect us. So these are very important parts of things that we do.
All right, for 6th through 8 at NAMS, one of the things that we're very proud of is that all students at NAMS perform for their family and the community during the course of the year. So every student in the school will perform in a concert. Some will do more than others, but all students will perform. So our band students, we have a winter concert in January. We have spring concerts upcoming. Our grade 7 and jazz band concerts on the 19th of May, and our grade 6 and 8 concert is on the 20th of May. We recently had our All-Town Band Festival concert, which is a huge event we do in the high school gymnasium that involves all band students from grades 6 through 12. So we set up the gym with just tons and tons of chairs, and each group takes turns taking a couple pieces, and then we perform Eagle Summit March at the end, which I'll show you in a little bit. So that's a really, really huge fun event. And then we have our annual Jazz Night concert, where the middle school jazz band, the high school jazz band perform, and NAMA helps us bring in a guest, a really, really talented musician and educator to work with the kids. They work with them in a rehearsal, and then they'll go and actually perform with them in the concert. And our Jazz Night is going to be on May 15th this year. And then the 8th grade band gets a chance to kind of see what high school band, marching band's all about by performing at a varsity football game. So back in October, we did that on the October 17th game. They came and they performed, and we played Earth, Wind, and Fire September at halftime, and it's a really fun event. And NAMA provides them with pizza for dinner, and it's just a great mixer for the 8th graders and the high school kids to come together and perform. For the chorus students, the full year chorus, they also have a winter and a spring concert. Our trimester chorus has a concert at the end of the year. And then also, Ms. Liakis has always come up with great events for the students to participate in. This year, I believe it was on March 4th, they went to and sang the national anthem at a Celtics game. So you can see a couple pictures on the slide there of them performing, and then meeting Drew Carr from ESPN, stopping in to say hello to them. So that was a really cool event for them. For high school, the 9 through 12. So the North Andover High School, it really has a very robust program. There are lots of options for students, many classes, ensembles, and then also other events like the coffee house and things that they put on that are just really wonderful events. And there's so much for the students to do at our high school. So in addition to the concerts that they put on, the band does a concert in the fall. Then the band they do a fall concert, a winter concert like in December before break. They did a wonderful concert this year in March, which is Music in Our Schools Month. They did a great concert where the choirs and the bands and also the Drama Guild performed their competition show, and that was a really wonderful event. I'm going to show you a clip from that in a little bit. But some other things kind of outside of the concerts, this year our Scarlet Night Marching Band, we placed first place in our division at 2 fall competitions, which was really great. We had especially our first show was our home show here in North Andover, so it was really great to kind of win our division in that particular show. The Wind Ensemble received silver medals at this year's MICA Festival as well as the World Strides Festival they did in Boston. And then the choir earned all gold medals at MICA, all 3 groups, and also at the World Strides Festival. And the World Strides Festival was a trip they just recently did in Boston. So they had a really fun day going to the Museum of Illusion. I saw the pictures from it. I have to go. It seems super cool. They saw Beauty and the Beast in town, and then they went up to Beverly and they performed in the World Strides Festival for judges and had clinics and evaluating and feedback. All right, so now I have just a couple of videos to show you. So if you've not been to the All-Town Band Festival concert, it's really a fun event. We were able to feature all the students from grades 6 through 12, so each band plays 2 pieces. The Winter Guard performs in this as well, and then the Wind Ensemble, the Symphonic Band, are all featured, and we're able to do this all in like an hour, 15 minutes, which is sweet. So everything is set up there ahead of time, and then we just move from band to band. And at the end, we perform a piece. This is the only song that every student plays. Every 6th grade band learns this song. It's called Eagle Summit March. It comes from a band book, a band method book we used when I first started here. We don't use that method book anymore, but we retained this piece of music because we really liked it. And it's like a perfect beginning band march, like for your first concert. It's just something that we really like and we continue to use. So this is.
How many years have you been doing this march?
My whole career here, 22 years. So, and I'm not sure if Mrs. Savory did it before, but I think Marilyn was at Franklin, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Before, so I think when she came up to NAMS, it was also my first year. So I think 22 years.
Pretty awesome.
So I don't know. You can go ahead and play. So that's the 8th grade band all the way on the right, and then we're panning into the 7th grade band. It's our drum major Trav, who's from the marching band, conducting them. It's the 6th grade band. And then the high school is all the way on the left.
Do the kids remember it if you have to reteach it? They do.
Oh yeah, so like we for the you know obviously the sixth graders learn it for their first concert and they play it in January and then so they know it and then we pass it back out to the older students and they they remember it, they pick it back up again before the concert and we rehearse it a little bit and then they're good to go.
You've moved Mrs. Hertz to tears back there.
It's good stuff. It is.
She's heard a lot of Eagle Summit March. Yeah. So it's really and it's so I mean, obviously I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching with Matt Innes and Justin Smalley for a long time, and they're just exceptional educators and really awesome to work with. So it's fun to be able to put together such a great concert with them. And then, like I said before, the next video, this is from the Music in Our Schools concert that they did in March, and this it's showing the band right now, but it's going to show a clip of the high school concert choir doing their final piece. And shout out to Mr. G, Isaac Licklich, having a really great first year. He's an alum of North Andover. I taught him trumpet when he was starting in band, and then he moved to tuba, became an essential tuba player. He plays piano. He's a wonderful singer and obviously a great choir director. So this is the NAHS concert choir in their March concert.
Hot off the press.
I would learn how to sing.
It's true. So I had the pleasure of meeting with these two fine gentlemen, and I kept apologizing to them for taking their time, and they kept saying, "Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking about what they do." And I wanted to talk a lot about what they think they need in order to build a really amazing music program. So they're going to share that with us next.
Yep, so these are just some ideas that we've had that we think will improve the experience for the students and create, especially at the elementary level, consistency and equity across the district. I'll jump to the bottom first, because I have a feeling if I don't explain this, you'll be wondering what this picture has to do with anything while I'm explaining the stuff at the top. So, yes, consistency. So I have this picture of a construction site, and to me, this is kind of a visual representation of music at the elementary level in North Andover Public Schools. All of us are working very hard to make strong, great foundations for our students as they work their way up. However, depending on which school you're at, then maybe at the top left, you're making your foundation out of brick and wood. And on the top right, you have concrete pillars, because that's the way you're doing it. The bottom left, you have some kind of rebar with columns that you're going to do. And then on the bottom right, we have a concrete slab. All of these are great foundations for buildings. All of these will work, but they're all different. And I don't know what Mr. Nelson feels, but his job is to build the first floor on top of this. So, it's not that, anyone or the other is better or worse. It's just that they're all different. And then we send these students up to the middle school, and they're all supposed to, have this floor built, but it's going to be different for each one. So I think what we feel is the most important thing that we could recommend is more consistency across the district, and start thinking of elementary music not as 5 separate things that happen in 5 separate buildings, but one thing that is universal across all of those buildings. And one of the ideas for that could be, and we've worked on a music curriculum across the district, but we honestly don't have too much time to devote to it. And we want to constantly be updating it and thinking about it. But as I said before, we only meet about half hour once every 5 to 6 weeks, and then on those 2-hour PD days, which isn't a lot of time, because that's not the only thing we have to do with that time. So more time for our curriculum so that we can be more consistent. Budget-wise across the district, some schools have had a budget every year since I've been here. Some schools don't have a budget every year. Some years is money, some years is not money for music. Some years you don't have a budget, but let me know what you want and I can see which of those things I can pick from. And what it creates is a situation in which we cannot plan for the future. Additionally, dedicated space for a music class is very important when we're building the curriculum. I don't know if you remember back, I don't want you to go back right now, but if you remember back to the first video I showed, the last scene was the Franklin music class, and they had an instrument for every kid. They had one whole set of drums, they had Orff instruments. Now at Franklin, there's always been a music room, and Mr. Rinker has bought basically an instrument a year for the 20-something years that he's been here, and he's eventually built that up. I have worked at Atkinson and Kittredge where there hasn't been a music room until very recently. So even if I had the budget to buy something like that, I wouldn't have had a place to use it or to store it. So there's something like that. By the time I built that up, I'd probably retire before I was able to get what you saw in that video starting at this point. So I think we need to be more comprehensive in looking at all of the schools together and what we want out of a music program from the 4 elementary schools, and then come up with a plan with how. So for example, if Mr. Rinker said, hey, Mr. Landry, I have this great lesson, you should do it. More often than not, I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't have the resources in my room. A quick fun story about the dedicated space. So we got ukuleles a few years ago, as you may know. We switched over from recorders to ukuleles. I was at Kittredge, and actually Superintendent Lathrop got us these very nice storage units for them. But the problem was there was no space in the downstairs at Kittredge to put them when I wasn't using the art/music room. So they had to be housed in the gym. They had to be housed in the gym closet when we weren't in music. And I couldn't, this thing weighs 200, 300 pounds, the nice thing that we had to put the instruments on. And at Atkinson, it worked out really great because I had a music room. But because I didn't have that and there was no way to move these instruments, I actually bought a drying rack for laundry, like on wheels. And I had to put all the instruments upside down in this drying rack, and I walked them from the gym down to the other room. And if anybody knows the Kittredge School, there's stairs. So then I literally picked up this drying rack filled with 24 ukuleles and walked down a flight of stairs. Never did I actually drop it, but you can imagine, like, that is the difference between something like a dedicated music room where you can make sure that the investment that we actually put in the ukuleles is protected because we have a space to store it. So I think, like I said, I think that bottom image is what I'm going for, which is everybody's doing a great job. We're all creating a foundation, but there's so many ways to do it, and we should be working on making sure that everybody's getting the same experience, that we should be able to share lesson plans, and everybody in the district should be able to do the same lesson if we wanted that. But at the current moment, we don't have that set up. I was also thinking while I was looking at the construction site, May 12th is a town meeting, and there's a construction of Kittredge School that's on the agenda.
That sounds
So,
like it has a
I felt a
beautiful
little left out
music
at the
room.
beginning when everybody got to say it, and I was sitting over there.
Sorry.
So, May 12th.
It sure does. But it's interesting, I don't want to interrupt, but I am going to for a second. I just wrote myself a note saying Mr. Landry should be part of the Kittredge School Building Committee because Mr. Hicks just asked me if the new Kittredge has a dedicated music space, and I said, yes, it does. But the hope is that when the new Kittredge comes online, to be able to move some of our students to make more space in all of the schools so that we can create these
Right.
dedicated spaces. It's not just about Kittredge getting a dedicated music space, but that the Kittredge can have about 100 more students than it had before, which can free up some space in some of our other schools so that we can do exactly what you're asking for.
Exactly, and thank you for saying that, because that's obviously the goal, to make sure that each school can function well on its own when you have the space to do that. So, and then these are what I would call future goals, because the the first slide was things that we currently have and how to improve them. This is things that we currently don't have, but I think would help improve the program. And the first is to reintroduce a band program at elementary. Do you know what year it was that we last had a band program?
It was the year before I started here. It was fifth grade band.
2000.
So it was cut in like 2003. I think was when fifth grade band was cut.
So it's 23-ish years that we used to have a band program in the elementary, and hopefully to reintroduce that at some point in the future. I did, when I first got here, actually, so this is almost 20 years ago now, we did have a before and after school band program, which was great, but on average, we had 16 to 20 students across. We offered to 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade from all elementary schools. So I don't know what the numbers are, but that's hundreds and hundreds of students, and we only usually would get 15 to 20, because obviously the logistics in coming before or after school is way trickier. The band program that I'm thinking about and envisioning in this is what it used to be like, where it would happen during the day. So I assume we would have much more participation, because logistically it would just happen during school. And then something that I don't think we've ever had, but the top tier music programs in the state that have the most robust offerings generally offer a string program that starts in 3rd or 4th grade and goes through high school orchestra. So in the future, I feel like that would be a great goal for the music department as well. And then Mr. Nelson's going to do 6th and up.
All right, so just kind of for improving what we currently do, continuing to coordinate our music curriculum and budget. One of the things that's been a little difficult this year is obviously we had, cuts to the operating budget, and that's going to affect the budgets for everybody. So it's something that's made it kind of difficult to purchase new equipment, maintain equipment, and just purchase supplies that we need. So trying to reinstate that the operating budget would be huge for what we currently do, and working towards consistent HQIM and supplies. Currently for music, there isn't a kind of HQIM option for us yet. I'm sure they're being worked on at the state level. So our focus is kind of on just really focusing on the 2019, the new art standards, and trying to coordinate our curriculum to that, and working towards having consistent curriculum and supplies. Moving forward, if we were to start elementary band again, that starting a little bit earlier. Our students start later than most students in the state. Their most band programs start in fourth or fifth grade. In my experience talking to people and my own experience, I think fifth grade seems to be a really good sweet spot in both their kind of mental development and also physical development to play an instrument. So if we were able to reinstate fifth grade band and getting that started a little bit earlier, I just imagine the progress that can be made as they move through middle school and high school, and having a string program, having an orchestra program, again, just to make our program so much more robust and offer students more choice in how they experience music. For the high school level, a similar thing, like coordinating the music curriculum, HQIM, supplies, trying to, get the operating budget for music to increase, so that we can provide the necessary equipment, instruments, curriculum. Obviously, when you get to the high school level, there's also other added needs of transportation that come into play, and attending various festivals and events and things like that, and it all, costs quite a bit of money. And moving forward, the high school recently lost a full-time position. So if it were possible to increase the FTE at the high school, bring that position back, it would help offer a more robust curriculum, have more offerings, more electives for students, and talking with my colleagues, someone with a percussion background would be really excellent for the district. It's one kind of facet, and especially at the secondary level, that we don't really have. I know, like Mr. Rinker at the elementary level is a really kind of talented percussionist and does a lot with African drumming and things. But at the middle and high school level, we're mainly woodwind and brass players. So having someone with a percussion background would be excellent. And then, obviously, if we're going to coordinate our music curriculum and budget, if we're going to work towards consistent HQM and supplies, doing that without a coordinator is difficult, right? So if we were to have like a K through 12 music coordinator, that would really, really help to just tie everything together, to make sure that we're offering in the elementary school level, offering the same things and the same experience and all through K through 12. So having a K through 12 music coordinator would be, I think, essential to really bringing the program to where we would want to see it.
Thank you.
I just with that last thing too about the K through 12, I don't think we've mentioned this, but currently there's not a lot of interaction between I don't know between you and the high school, but at least elementary and the upper levels, we almost never see each other. I mean, we'll see each other at the state convention and stuff, but not, in terms of planning through a K through 12 type curriculum. Because, we have so little time just to meet ourselves as elementary, and then oftentimes the PD is not at the same time because our schools have different contractual hours. So by the time elementary's ready to meet, middle school and high school are done with their school day. So we have tried in the past to do it, but yeah, just so you're aware of that. We don't have currently much, communication between the districts on a, professional PD curriculum planning level. So.
Thank you very much. We're going to do questions. I'm going to try and keep it organized. Thank you. One. In this regards, thank you for the 3 large buckets that you did your presentation in, because that's going to help us do the questions, I think. I'm just going to use that structure. So does anyone have any questions about the structures across K to 12 instruction? And then we'll do questions about the celebrations and questions about recommendations, if that makes sense.
I do. So thank you very much. 1, for coming tonight, and then 2, for showing us and educating, well, I'll say me, educating me on all of the things that you do. I'm a parent of a child in one of the elementary schools, so I see the celebration side, and I hear about the other stuff, but seeing and understanding what this is, I appreciate that. Thank you. I have a question on, this slide. I think, where it talked about different budgets in the elementary school, and this may be more of a question for Superintendent Lathrop. What drives different budgets in the elementary schools?
So the current structure in North Andover is that because we don't have curriculum directors for things like music or health and PE, the budgets for those areas have been part of the schoolhouse. And the principal drives that budget. And it is, I'll be honest with you, it's an area that is lacking in terms of our support as administrators to support, as leaders in the district to support the principals, to bring some consistency. I think I talked about it a little bit when I first came here. I know Ms. Ando has talked about it a little bit. She might want to add some, but that is really where we are with that.
So this would mean like a budget line item in our budget that would then, instead of having some money sprinkled into their budget, so maybe consolidated.
Right? It could be in terms of, if you look at each schoolhouse, and as a district, we could come up with what the determination is. I would do it, I don't know, there's lots of different ways, but you might want to we could think about it in terms of per pupil, because sometimes, if you're spending on something like larger schools, well, obviously might need a larger budget. But you're giving the same amount of money to the music program per student that you have in the building, so that everybody has access to that. That's one way. If you want to leave it in the department of the schoolhouse, we could move it into teaching and learning, and then, Kristen oversees the budget. We could potentially look at our FCIs or our curriculum coordinators in terms of music in both middle school and high school, like department chairs, and whether or not they take on a piece of the budgeting process. But if we had a curriculum coordinator for music, that person would own the budget.
Now I feel like we're going into recommendations.
I'm just saying, and I see Kristen was going to
And I
add
guess
a few
it is a
things.
recommendation, but I guess it would
not-
be my greatest joy that a few years from now I would come to you and we would be adopting a music HQIM. And we'd buy instruments for our program the same way we buy math books and we buy reading books, per pupil. You know what I mean? And the idea that we would thoughtfully coordinate this. I think these 2 gentlemen and all of our music people have done a wonderful job with little resource. And so I would love for you to adopt an HQIM for music someday. That would be awesome.
And I guess just, Assistant Superintendent Ando and Superintendent Lathrop, thank you for bringing this forward and kind of shining the light on an area where you're saying we might need improvement. So thank you, because this is the first step.
I would say this. I give the school committee a lot of credit, because this year you really have made an effort to bring different presentations forward, to hear about parts of the school system that you may not necessarily know. And I really appreciate that you asked, that you spent some time thinking about the presentations that were here. And then in terms of Ms. Ando, reaching out to fine arts, and then really understanding and thinking that music needed something separate, right? And perhaps art will need something separate, another part, or another kinds of visual arts, right?
It's the idea that we'll update you.
And I appreciate that this was a really comprehensive presentation. And if we had everybody here, it could, you could get lost in that a little bit. So I'm so thrilled that we are sort of bringing this forward and talking about it. And as we do, and I know you have questions and things, but I want to say just want to point out that there's a lot of correlation between the arts and academics. And we even have art and academic nights. And what our students do through music does help them in their reading. There's lots of studies out there that talks about music and academics. I had a pilot program in a school where I worked, where my music teacher and my reading specialist did a program together, because reading is a lot of rhythm, and there's rhythm obviously in music. But we want to increase our academic performance, and that will come as we start to increase our music performance. Students who have all access, having that ability to take a string instrument or be part of band. These things do go very much hand in hand, and I think it's important that our community starts to hear that a little bit more.
I have one more.
Sorry,
comment
I got
sorry,
my
no.
own little soapbox.
On the structure, I have a comment on just highlighting exactly what you said. So I actually started flipping through my notebooks as you were going through the structure in 9 through 12, because it reminded me, looking and seeing the programs, the college prep, the honors AP, and the after school programs that you offer. We've had the opportunity, the school committee, to do a community chat at the high school. Last December, we went during the school day, and the students had a chance to come in and talk to us as school committee members. 14 out of the 15 people were involved in the programs on this page. Those were the students that came forward and were articulate and thoughtful about what they need and how happy they were with the program in between music and band and choir and what it did for them, and brought them to that table to advocate for themselves and for others. And it just highlights how important what you do and the benefit of what you do with how little you have right now, and how much more could we offer the students with the things that you're asking for. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions about the structures?
I'm not sure exactly where to ask this question, but my starting point, I guess, like back when Lincoln was president and I was in school, music was I guess once a week we went into some room and somebody played the piano and we sang. Now, you're way beyond that, which is very exciting. I'm just trying to picture, like, for a student, there's all these. How does it start? Do you like in elementary school? They go sing in a band, or in a chorus, or do they choose? I see all the categories. I'm not just envisioning how this actually works.
Are you talking about how? So in elementary, it's just general music, so they
what
are
does
all
that
the
mean?
same thing. But are you talking about how they would transition from 5th grade to choosing what they choose?
All right, so that's a good place to start.
Yep.
At the beginning, everybody sort of has the same program.
Right.
GM, we'll call it, general music, which is what? Singing, or is it there are no instruments yet?
Well, it's what's on the bottom right there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So that's going through the grade level. Starting at kindergarten, it's can I keep a steady beat? Can I keep a steady beat?
No.
That's what we're working on in kindergarten.
Okay.
And the answer, Mr. Moskowitz, is often no.
So,
I
and
see.
then
Sorry,
working as an ensemble.
I missed that. Right,
Yep.
that's very helpful.
And
so
then-
they actually learn about. Teach them about rhythm and
Yeah.
harmony. Do you get to that? at
We'll
some
start
point?
doing that more towards like 3rd or 4th grade. We'll be singing in harmony.
They know what a major chord is at some point.
I do a little with major and minor chords when we discuss. Like, I don't do a whole unit on it most of the time, but we'll do things in major and minor, and I'll point out the fact that they're different and how they're different. But then, like, notation starts around 2nd, 3rd grade. Instruments, we start with ukuleles in 4th grade. Used to be recorders.
So this is everybody.
This is
You
across.
just say
K
so.
through
So it's
5.
music, and we're all going to play a ukulele.
Right. Well, that's new. I mean, we've only been doing ukulele for
It used to be
3 years.
recorder.
Used to be recorder.
So when they do the ukulele, do you tell them like it's a chord? I mean, they
talk
see
about-
the diagram and they can
Yep.
hear the difference.
Yep.
Okay. And then
Generally,
eventually,
we get through.
yeah.
In 4th and 5th grade, we usually have 4 chords that we work on. We have C, A minor, G7, and F. And between those
I'm a
four,
big
You can play
G7
every song.
fan.
you can play.
Oh, yeah, no,
You can
of
play
course.
almost. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about the
Yeah.
key of, yeah.
You can play an F. You can play.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, so I do G7. I didn't want to get too into the weeds, but sometimes
No.
I do G7 instead of G because just the fingering's easier for the younger kids. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
it doesn't
I played-
always translate. For
Right.
anybody who's a musician out there, like G7 and G are not the same, but
No.
for fourth grade and their fine motor skills, it works. And then in fifth grade we still we sing, we do ukulele in fifth grade, but then we start doing more. We talk about composers and music history and stuff like that when we start getting in. And then if you wanted to get to the point where we transition, so then, Crit, do you want to talk about how?
Sure. So towards the end of fifth grade, we'll come down to the elementary schools and do a presentation for them and talk to them about the options that they can do in middle school. So we'll talk to them about playing a band instrument versus, or if you really, really enjoy singing, you can sing all year and full year chorus in a group that meets every other day. Or if you'd like to, you want to sing, but there's also, maybe you're interested also in theater, you can do trimester chorus and acting. So we talk about the various options, and then they think about the selection that they want to make, and then we put them on one of those three schedules.
When they're singing in middle school, you've already taught them harmony, so they sing in parts?
They do sing in parts, yep. In sixth grade, they sing in parts, not just in unison, and they're they're reading like standard choral folios, like written out music.
Cool.
So we don't just give them lyric sheets and that type of thing. So they're
Every other day?
every other day.
Wow.
Yep, and some of them. So you either have it every other day all year, or every other day for a trimester, depending on what you pick.
Oh, I see. And then if you got tired of singing, you could then pick an instrument.
Yeah, we do allow students to make changes from year, at the end of sixth grade. Maybe they I kind of wish I played an instrument, and then we do have kids who will switch into band in seventh grade, or vice versa. Maybe they played the clarinet all year, and I'm not really into that. I think I want to sing. So we do allow mobility from year to year.
So they don't take the instruments home?
No, they do.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
So they practice at home, and then
So they
play
they can bring their instruments home. I mean, when they're at school, they stay in their homerooms and they bring them their lesson, and then they're not we don't have a place where they have to store them. We definitely
Instruments in middle school they're rented by the families though.
yes.
I'm sorry?
You rent the instruments in middle school.
So the band instruments are rented by the students, and we do have some school owned instruments that we can loan out to families who need them. It's like one of the things that I usually will try to buy, from the music company, some used instruments every year. I wasn't able to do that this year, so that's just one of the things that if with the cuts that happen in the budget, it's difficult. So we want to make sure that that band isn't something that your family needs to have a lot of money to do. I mean, anybody who wants to play an instrument in North Andover Middle School Band, we want to make that happen for them. So, but yeah, most students do rent, and then some will borrow an instrument.
This is way beyond the Music Man. 76th drum.
Oh, yes,
He
yes,
comes
no,
up there and
yes.
says, "Imagine this."
Yes, they read music. It's not the Think system. It's
Thank you for that.
yeah.
Thank you. So when you have collaboration once or twice a month, it's 30 minutes, which is obviously, for the elementary schools, is not enough time.
And it's virtual too.
Oh,
Basically it's from either 8:10 or whenever we're done with our duties in the morning, which sometimes is 8:25 till 8:55, and then we have to go get our classes.
Okay.
So that's a very short time. We get that every 5 to 6 weeks. But
Okay.
then we do get a big chunk of time usually on those half days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so when you have to go over to the ABECC to get the kids, which is fun,
Yep.
how much time are you losing?
I would say I probably lose 5 to 10 minutes total. And this is actually something that's come up quite a few times that we're losing time. This is my personal opinion, but I personally feel that the kids first of all, having that movement break to start and end class actually, I feel like puts them in a better place to be in class. And music for a 5-year-old it is one subject. So I do movement breaks within class. I change things up. We don't just sit there and do one thing. But a 35-minute music class for a kindergarten actually is, to me, almost a better sweet zone than the 45. Because sometimes I feel like 35 is what I get their attention for. And the last 10 is me, because I taught kindergarten before when I was in the elementary schools, and I would just go into their room. So I'd have the full 45. And sometimes their attention starts to wander. So the last 10 minutes, yes, they're in music, but it's not always the most productive.
So they're not losing, like, it's valuable. I mean, they're losing time, but it's not highly productive.
I honestly
music time.
feel like
Okay.
they are getting a better experience. I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's them, but I feel like the 35 minutes is better, actually. And actually, when I first started teaching here 20 years ago, kindergarten was a 35-minute music class. And at some point, I think contractually because of prep time, we had to expand it to 45. But it was actually 35 for quite some time when I started. Oh, it's when it went to full day. That's what it was. It used to be when we had half day K, it was 35-minute music, which I thought was great. Then we went to 45, and that's when I felt like, ooh, some of this time is just like.
Well, my worry is that, like, the impact of not having a dedicated space is that you have to then, in the ABCC building, is that you have to then go get the kids, and that can be a challenge and a cumbersome that could take away from your time. So having a space there, even going to get them, but having a space in the building would still probably be better than having to transport them under. I mean, it's outside, but at least it's protected from the building to each other. Thank you. Moving on to, I'm going to skip over celebrations because we know they're amazing. In particular, I like the Veterans Day Parade and the medley of songs that you play on that one, Mr. Smalley. Or do you do the Veterans Day Parade too?
Yes.
It's the marching band.
Yes.
I like the medley.
Yes. We got the new one last year to include Space Force. So
I like walking to Anchors Away in particular. Recommendations. I'm going to start. In theory, like, yes, band program. I have been saying since I first ran, it is too late to start in 6th grade. You do amazing work, and the amount of, like, as attributed by the number of awards and medals and honors and things that that everyone earns, or the high school groups earn, like, it's phenomenal. But we start too late. Like, we should start earlier. And it makes me sad that so many other districts do and we don't. And I know that probably makes you sad too, because, like, imagine how awesome our kids would be if they had 2 years when it's even more developmentally appropriate to learn instruments. How many people would that take to do a band program at the elementary schools? Or does it band program? Could it just be in-school lessons? That was the model I had when I was a kid. Mr. Tisdale went to all 5 elementary schools. One day at each school, he did lessons all day long. You went down for your half an hour. What are we talking about, like, in FTEs? How could you make that work?
I think, the way that when we had 5th grade band before, it was one FTE, and the person went to, like, you kind of cycled through the school. So you'd go to, one school one day and kind of work through each day, and you would schedule your lessons. And it was typically in an elementary school, the only way to really do it is with a pull-out program. So all the kids would from that school, for a particular instrument would go. So it's kind of an elaborate schedule that gets put together. But you could reinstate 5th grade band with one person.
Okay, thank you. And then how much we know that HQIM is not yet available for music. Don't know if they're ever going to get there. We can do a lot of work with looking at what HQIM means and develop things that meet those standards. How much time would that take? Like, realistically thinking, like, how much, because it costs money, is that like a few hours worth of work? Is that 3 years of work? Like, what would it take in terms of an investment on our behalf to get you to that spot where you have a good, high quality curriculum K-12?
Is your question, how long would it take to plan and decide what that would be,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
to
like,
actually
I mean, it's not
implement it? Because those are two.
That's very different. Well, like, so-
I'll just step in for half a second and say that I think that, to be honest with you, I think that as we start thinking about the how much, it's more of like, I would say that you would put a curriculum director in place first
Got it.
for music, and then that curriculum director would be able to answer those questions in concert with working with Ms. Ando and working with the music
I guess
staff.
my point is, like, it's not something you can just come up with. It'll
Correct.
take a significant amount of time and energy and resources on our behalf to get that to happen.
Right, and dedicated professional development time
And input.
to do that and make it consistent around the board, especially at the elementary level where
Yeah.
you're talking different buildings. I mean, at the middle school, the three of us are fortunate that, we're in the same building, so that obviously helps a lot with alignment. But yeah, it would take significant PD time and planning for sure.
That's okay. It's a worthwhile investment.
Well, I think
that, I think that's a good thing
Yes.
to work towards.
to me, I think today is step one. Like everybody knowing what's going on, so that we can then decide how to move forward. And talking about a coordinator, somebody who, like I said before, with each school being different, trying to come up with a universal plan for how all of us can move forward together. Something like, I know it was mentioned the per pupil. So I know lots of things are done on a per pupil basis because, if you have 20 kids in a school, you need 20 math books. If you have 100 kids, you need 100 math books. But a bass xylophone costs $1,000 regardless of how many kids you have in your school. So if we have a school with only, 200 and a school with 500, that bass xylophone costs the same. So
They don't have a small version of it?
Yeah, if you have, if you're doing it per pupil, sometimes those items that you may not have enough money for in a school that only has 200, but you still need the bass xylophone if you want, the full collection. So just having somebody who has an overview of how it all works would be, I think is something we need if we're going to have consistency going forward.
I think Ms. Hurst will buy you a bass xylophone if you want it. So like the next step would be making sure we have somebody in place who can then guide a department through all those things.
We need an architect
Okay, that's
for
fair. Thank
Mr.
you.
Landry's building.
Well, and I think that's one of the things we really want to know when we're thinking
Yeah.
about to FY '28. If we wanted to start to implement this, what do we need to set aside in the budget? Because that's going to start to put together our building blocks of our dream budget, and this is one of the things that we need to incorporate.
And the value of music education is certainly not lost on me. I mean, yes, it has a great impact on like other skills and academic skills, and kids grow up to be musicians. Kids grow up to work in the music industry. My stand partner in high school for the tenor sax now is still a professional musician, like, and works with some of the best songwriters in the world. Like these are careers that we want kids to know exist and be good at and feel like they can see themselves doing these things in the future too. It also is one of the places where kids feel like they belong. And having strong music programs means that they want to go to school every day and they'll be there to learn all the other stuff. So it matters for a whole host of reasons.
Well, even if they're not taking it as a career,
Yeah.
the skills and the lessons that they
Yeah.
learn through music is something they carry through whatever they choose to do.
I was proud to be a band geek. I was the king.
I was the queen.
You were the queen.
I was an orchestra girl.
I couldn't say.
You raised a question of mine, which I hadn't really thought about. Playing in the band is like almost two separate things, right? You have to actually know how to play the trumpet, which you don't need you don't need to have the drummers there. And then you have to learn how to play together. Now, how do you work that out? The separation of learning the mechanics of the instrument
Mr.
and
Nelson's a
then
very
learning how to
talented
do
teacher.
Yeah,
play it in a band.
That's one of the reasons we structure the thing the way that we do at the middle school. So when they're starting out, we realize that at the very beginning, and if you were to start in 5th grade, it would be like that too. You would need separate groups for like instruments, and then you have to learn the fundamentals of playing the instrument first before you can then play with other people. But yes, it's those two things together that are both very important, both learning to play your instrument and then playing together with others in an ensemble.
So when it first begins, probably you don't do the band as a whole, you just
No.
teach them the instruments.
Nope, they actually, we don't, until right the week of the concert is the first time that the sixth graders all come together and play together for the first time.
It happens in 4 months.
Yeah, so they've learned the music, in their separate 6 classes, and then they all come together and rehearse together.
One thing I do love about the middle school program is that music is not optional. Like the way you do music changes and there's some choice there, but the idea that you are going to take you're going to do some type of performance, I think is wonderful. That we challenge our kids to do that. I think that's a particularly unique thing. I don't know. I think it's unique about North Andover.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very middle school model. Like having kids experiencing lots of different things, and then as they get older, they're figuring out what they want to focus on, and instead of like a middle school general music program. Like when I first started in North Andover, we had like band, chorus, and general music, and general music was very much like project based, but and then we just kind of learned like we were able to just do more and address more standards, and we definitely like the idea of everybody doing a performance, everyone performing together. So I think it's kind of integral to music, is the performance piece.
Any final questions?
I have a final comment.
Absolutely.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for the work that you are doing. I'm sorry that you haven't been invited here, but please know that we are dedicated to the work that you're doing. We want to see it progress and for our music program to grow. And we thank you for your dedication to that, and we look forward to our future of increasing our music program. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me for a while, and I finally got it to happen. Thank you,
I
Pam.
just want to say thank you as well. It's really, it's 8:30. You're going to, go home, probably eat something, turn around, go to sleep, come back to work here. I really appreciate, for your 1,000 kids walking through. I really appreciate you being here tonight to share that. That's what's going to make us a better district. When people who have the passion for it willing to come. I mean, I could speak about it forever, but for you both coming here and sharing. I also want to say I was a little horrified when you said that Mr. Rinketer had worked here for 20 years. I hired him when he was fresh out of Berkeley School of Music, when I was the principal at Franklin School. But I'm just, I'm proud of the work that you're doing, and excited for the work that we can do as we move forward. And thank you for Kristen for putting this together and working with all of you.
It's been an honor to hear about what you do for work, and this is just the beginning, right?
Yep.
Right.
We've got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
We've got a lot to build.
And almost all of us retire in about 12 to 15 years. So we have a very experienced music staff.
But we're shrinking.
But
Thank you so much.
Strategic.
It was a great performance of the Eagle Summit this year. Loved it.
Thank you.
And you're going to be hard pressed to come up with a better halftime show this coming year, because this past year was really good. I
good.
really
Thank you.
enjoyed this year's
Thank
past
you.
show. It
That's
was really
awesome.
great. The music, the movement, and great performance of it. So
Oh, thanks. We appreciate it.
you've got
How'd
a
they do-
big hill
how'd they
to
do,
climb now.
friends?
Aren't they amazing?
That's why we do what we do. I'm sorry we can't make another public comment. No, we're not allowed.
It's amazing.
You can
You
stay
can stay till the end if you want.
Very, very.
Wow.
Does anybody know what the game is happening?
Thank you, my friends.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank
See you in
for
like
your
5 minutes, right?
I sort of apologize to the rest of the committee for us going over, but sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
On that one. Superintendent.
Right. Well, as they're leaving, I will say, I always try to think about a little bit of how my first slide will start and maybe highlighting something. And, I had heard that our district was, again, received the best communities for music education. So I thought it was only proper to give them the first slide this year. It's something really to be proud of. And, for all the things that we struggle with. And, it is hard to sit here as the superintendent and hear that there are inequities in our schools, and to hear that based on your space and based on what the school budget might look like is how things would be determined, right? You know, knowing that that's a challenge that we have to overcome. But despite that, we have a music program that is exceptional. And that is a lot to be proud of. And it's really because of the fine people that work in our music department. So thank you very much for that. So that's my first slide. So I'm glad that you were here for it, and you don't have to stay for the rest.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. Thank you.
MA, where is it? North,
Merchants.
it's something music merchants. National Association of Music Merchants. Thank you.
Music.
Thank you.
Merchants.
Oh, cool.
So in terms of recognition, we have a few this week. So on Wednesday, April 15th, our North Andover High School Assistant Principal Lynn Grantham, our North Andover High School Science Department Coordinator Amy O'Teary, and our Curriculum Director Carol Larkham attended the 1-8 Applied Learning Grant Convention for Project Lead the Way Biomedical Science Grant that this committee had previously accepted. They spent the day with the other grant recipients and preparing for the school year. So that grant money is already underway.
And a box of Wheaties.
I know, box of Wheaties.
I don't know.
I'm sure there was a project they were working on. I didn't ask Kara.
Well, yeah, nutrition, biomedical, it makes sense.
Yes,
It fits.
right? Atkinson School wanted to highlight two of their student leaders. They had a principal of the day, Colton Bates. He did an outstanding job. He participated in school activities. He greeted the students and the staff. He spent time in the main office. He did some read alouds in several classes. He went into the cafeteria and helped learning about school leadership and had a great day. And then Daniel Shields, he stepped in as PE teacher of the day. He led the PE classes. And then both of them helped together in lunch duty with the first and second graders and had a great day. So that's a great picture. Our Franklin School Green Team, the Student Council hosted an all-school meeting before break. They created a trivia game to learn about the Earth Day. And Miss Denise Coleman, Kristen Hamway, and Kelly Trainer are the coordinators who work with the students. And the students emceed the meeting and had a great event. Another night for Franklin School. Franklin School had a tradition of the variety show. It had sort of fallen off during COVID last year. Mr. Clark brought it back, and new principal Radowski kept it going this year. So the longstanding tradition was back for a second year. Franklin's always had a tradition of a teacher dance. Usually one teacher steps up. Ms. Hamway is their choreograph. She choreographs it for them this year. They did something around trolls and some cute pictures of some of the kids. So I think it's 3rd, 4th, and 5th that participate in the Franklin School not field day, talent show, variety show. And then I just have some, as I said, some short update recognitions, but I have some updates that I want to share with you. The Strategic Committee has officially ended their work. Doesn't mean the strategic plan's complete, but they have ended their work. We do have a vision and a mission, a theory of action. We have initiatives. We are just doing a little bit of fine tuning. We were going to bring you the rough draft in a couple of weeks for approval, that you're approving the initiatives and the way we're going. It won't be the final copy, but until we sort of move towards print ready, we want to make sure that we're in alignment with the school committee.
So approval of the ideas, not of the product
Yeah, it
itself.
doesn't go to the graphic artist until it's approved by you.
Got it.
So it's rough.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had over 20 people that participated in their strategic plan. It was really an interesting process from beginning to end, sort of getting out some of the emotions that the district has gone through. Really was the first few weeks, but there was a lot of passion and a lot of dedication from the folks that were there, and really appreciative to the people that stepped up. North Andover High School has officially installed their vape detectors. This has been something that the high school has been wanting to do. They have put in so many interventions in place to really work on something that is a real challenge for us. The district has done a lot of work with our parent resource network, with the youth center, and really helping to educate the community and our students about vaping. But it is a highly addictive activity, and once students start, it's really challenging to stop. And it has been a problem at the high school. I think you remember last year our talking about having to lock the bathrooms, having to have controlled times. I think earlier, at one point, I'm not sure if it was here or if it was at the select board actually, but we talked about the Breathe program that we have in place that has really been helpful. But now we have vape detectors that have been installed. We did get an earmark grant. I think it was Senator Tarr's office that worked with us to be able to bring them in. Ms. Holman will be sending home a note to students and families soon. That basically will read, in an effort to continue to keep students safe and our bathrooms a healthy place for students to access, we have installed vape detection. In the next few weeks, we will be testing the technology and preparing for full implementation. Sale, possession, and the use of nicotine, tobacco, vape, or any nicotine, tobacco, vaping paraphernalia in school, on school grounds, on school buses, or at a school-sponsored activity is prohibited per the North Andover Public Schools Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. So parents will get an update that's in. There will be a period of learning, and then what the date of full implementation will be in terms of what will happen when students are caught vaping in the bathroom.
Or anywhere else, presumably.
Anywhere else, presumably, but this week the detectors are in the bathroom because the bathroom is a place where we have had some issues in the past. North Andover. So what I wanted to just show you here is on the North Andover website. We now have a collective bargaining tab, so it's right there. You can go to collective bargaining, and there you're going to see the ground rules. So as you know, we are with our teaching assistant unit, we are doing open bargaining this time. And so what we have agreed is that we would also be sharing all the information that's part of those open meetings. We did come up with some ground rules, so those are there for folks to read. And then each time we have a presentation, that will be under the updates, so you can see what the March 9th was when the North Andover Teachers Association made their proposal to the school committee, and they had a financial analysis that they shared, and so you can see those two documents. And then on April 29th, the school committee, along with the administration, shared a school committee presentation to the North Andover Teachers Association. And then the last section there is called meetings, where you'll see the meeting agenda, and we will post the recording from CAM as soon as it's ready. So I just wanted to highlight that for all of you. I would really encourage school committee members, if you haven't seen it, to be able to to keep apprised. And I really want to encourage the community. This is a place for you to hear and know what is happening at collective bargaining, so that you can understand the positions from all angles. Nope, you're all good. Oh, there you go. I did miss a bullet, and so, a bullet on the slideshow that I want to share. ABECC principal search will be beginning. I did send out a letter to the staff and to the families that we will be moving forward with a search for a new principal for ABECC. Kristen Ando, Lynn O'Neill, myself, and Mr. Landry did some listening sessions at ABECC. We met with the staff, and then we met with families. We also put out a survey thinking about strengths, needs, what they're looking for in the next principal. And from what we learned, it really made sense to move forward with a full search. So that is underway. I will ask Mr. Hicks, the school chair, to work with us to help to appoint a school committee member to be part of the ABE search committee. So.
Could I ask you either a question or a comment about that?
Sure.
I mean, that is an extraordinary school right at the moment. Just performance way above almost anywhere else. And this is not a criticism of this district, but there's a tendency in education, somebody new comes and thinks, well, they should change it. And this is a case, they probably shouldn't. Or I don't know how you do this, but to say to them, yes, you're the new leader, but we need to be comfortable that you understand what an extraordinary place this is, and that you're not going to just change it because you need to. You see what I'm saying? Somebody
That's the
might say,
overwhelming
gee, I wish I
message.
could come and make it my own way, but
Yeah.
That's the overwhelming message we heard from the
I'm sorry?
That's the overwhelming message we heard from the families, the staff, and the community when we had listening sessions. Was this place is a wonderful place, and Dr. Goddard is a wonderful leader, and we wish her well. And we want the success to continue. Like we heard that over and over again from when we went to our listening
But
sessions.
this would be, challenge maybe isn't the right word, but it would be a different dialogue than you normally have when you bring someone in.
Not necessarily. I think that anytime you bring somebody in all cases, I think that any good person that's going to take a position is going to come in, and you're going to spend a lot of time doing an entry plan, and you're going to spend a lot of time, obviously, I would hope, my goal would only be to hire a person who had done their homework, who was prepared, that knew about the school, and comes in and can speak to the fact that they already know that we have. So if you're listening and you're going to apply for the job, I'm telling you what I'm looking for. That
Know what you're talking about.
Right? That you have done your homework, and that you know it's a high-performing school, and that you bring that same level, that you can tell me that you also have come from either a high-performing school, or that you know how to continue to move those practices forward. In that, I also look for somebody that may be able to bring something that we haven't seen yet. And there are other things. I think that is the nature of what a screening committee looks like. I will say I feel really confident in my ability to hire really great people, both in my jobs before this one and in my current job. I think that's my skill set. And it would be my expectation as a superintendent. I'm not looking for somebody to come in and say, like, let's, change this up, because things don't necessarily need to be changed up. But I am looking for a person to come in and bring their special strength. I'll use myself because I think it's only appropriate when you use yourself. I think I was a good principal. I think I had a high-performing school, but I also could tell you what the weaknesses of my school were and what the weaknesses of me as a principal were. And I know that the person who followed me has kept lots of things moving forward, but also changed some things that I maybe didn't see, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm not really concerned. I think that we are fortunate that we have a really attractive school, and we're going to receive some really great candidates. I think the challenge is that it's special in that it's pre-KK. It also has a very large special education population because of the pre-K nature, and that's why we support preschool in North Andover. And so I am looking for that special unicorn that has a really strong background in early childhood education, with a heavy emphasis on special education and young learner.
The screening committee will play a really important role in making sure that those things happen, Mr. Moskovich. I know that those are some of the similar ideas and things that the screening committee for the high school brought forward, and in the choice that we made, I think we definitely reflected what we heard from the families and the teachers beforehand. I think is reflected in the choice that the committee eventually recommended to the superintendent and she hired.
Yeah.
So I have confidence in their ability.
And I want to say that Dr. Goddard is an amazing administrator, and she has done a wonderful job at ABECC. The other night we had the kindergarten orientation, which is sort of the first night for our new families coming to kindergarten. And Tiffany started to speak, and she shared, the beginning of the night, and then she introduced me, and I got up and I said, tonight we're going to make you fall in love with Miss Dr. Goddard, and then we're going to tell you that she's no longer your child's principal.
Unless you go to Atkinson.
I said, unless you go to I said, the good news is that she is staying in our district, and she is moving on to Atkinson School. I appreciate what you say, and I appreciate what all the staff have said and what the families have said, just as Kristen just said. There has been some really exceptional work there. And it's, I always say to my staff, the staff, yes, I'm like the leader, right? I'm the orchestra, or the principal is up there and they're orchestrating, but it's the people that are doing the work. And those teachers, by and large, are doing the work. Tiffany has helped them get to that place, but if the teachers believe in it, they're going to make sure their next leader does it too.
On that note, we're going to get to Atkinson in a second. Mrs. Sams, would you be willing to serve on that committee?
Yes, I would. I would
I feel
love
like
to.
you haven't done a hiring committee yet.
No.
No? So
Oh, great.
And the honor is yours. And now you've heard the feedback about what we're looking for.
Yes. She recently had a student at
Yes,
ABCC.
I think you understand.
Yes.
I feel like you understand the ABCC well.
Great.
Um,
And then moving on to,
Atkinson.
I want to share, I have shared in your packet a memo from me that we have been invited to participate in the Accelerated Achievement Partnership with the Department of Education. And this is specifically targeted towards the Atkinson School. The Department of Education has created the Accelerated Achievement Partnership to work with schools, predominantly schools that are not meeting performance standards through MCAS, or schools that their rating or their accountability rating did not show that they were making progress. Now, Atkinson is not one of those schools. We did not have a target performance rating that would immediately qualify us or immediately put us into the Accelerated Achievement Partnership. They did, however, invite schools or invite school districts who have schools that have had some, have been showing that their improvement has not been progressing at the rate that the Department of Education would like to see. We are not under an obligation to participate in this because we still currently are falling within the range that does not automatically put us into the partnership. And about 40% of the schools that they have, that are in part of this partnership are just like Atkinson School, where they do not carry a formal state assistant designation. But I believe, and Ms. Ando believes, that this is really a positive opportunity for the Atkinson School and for the North Andover Public Schools. It's an opportunity for us to work very closely with the Department of Education. It's an opportunity for us to be assigned a coach from the Department of Education. They are still unrolling what this program will look like. They have shared with us there may be some opportunities where it's sort of grant specific towards schools that are participating in this achievement partnership. One of the first steps for us will be completing a needs assessment. So there's a needs assessment that will happen at the schoolhouse level, and there's a needs assessment that we will complete at the central office level. On May 15th, myself, Ms. Ando, the current administration at Atkinson, and the incoming administration at Atkinson, our special education liaison for Atkinson School will be participating in a training from the Department of Education. So we'll hear more about what this initiative looks like. So we'll have much more to share with you after the 15th. But I support this. We have, Kristen and I have formally accepted the invitation to be part of this accelerated partnership. I'm going to ask Ms. Ando to speak to you a little bit about maybe some thoughts we have already before we move fully into the program.
So this is the time of year where we generally get forecasts for our Title I funding, and Atkinson is one of our Title I schools. And so, to borrow a phrase from Ms. Dowd, we're going to strategically use our funds using this information in order to support the Atkinson School. We don't know quite what that looks like yet, but on May 15th, we will learn more about the initiative, but we may make some shifts in positions based on needs that we might have. To go back to Mr. Landry's foundation, we could hire another person to build another foundation, but we really need an architect to bring it all together. And so we are thinking about lots of options as we do that. We won't have any of those hard and fast answers till July 1st. When we get the announcement of the funding, but we are thinking of how to best strategically use our Title I funds in order to support the Atkinson, especially as it relates to this initiative.
Thank you.
This is more money beyond the Title I, the grants from the department.
We don't know exactly what
yet.
that money will look like. So we're hoping on May 15th they'll be a little bit more specific whether or not we will receive money to be able to do this, or it will be coaching. One of the things that I read did say that we would have there would potentially be grants that are only open to schools that are participating in the Accelerated Achievement Partnership. Tomorrow, I plan to send a letter to the Atkinson School staff so that they're aware, and a letter to the Atkinson families so that they're aware.
Thank you.
How long does the partnership last? Are we in
June.
it for 6 years, 1 year? Because I'm wondering just in terms of the amount of change and to know that it takes
I
time.
don't know if they
Good
have
question.
told us yet. I do believe that I give the new commissioner a lot of credit. I think that in many years past, when you're struggling to meet your achievement goals, it has seemed very punitive from the Department of Education, and that has been a challenge, I think, as an educator.
We've experienced that.
Joe and I.
And that is not his focus. His focus is on how can we support you, that there's clearly something that they recognize that maybe the Department of Education is not doing, and that they want to see this as just truly that, a partnership. So I think that he has moved really quickly in some of the really big initiatives that I feel like he is moving Massachusetts through, and I think that they are working very hard to develop this. We've had a couple of very brief overviews with them, but just really talking about sort of leading up to what we hope we'll learn on May 15th. So I don't know how long the partnership will last.
At least through next year. At the very minimum.
My
Yeah.
guess would be at least, I would think at least 2.
I would think probably 2 to 3 years. And there's a matrix that they shared with us about certain parts of the program. One being the self-assessments that, if you are a mandated school district, you have to do them. If you are in an invitational school district, which we are, it is your choice. But why wouldn't
Yeah,
we?
why wouldn't
Right?
Why wouldn't we take the help?
So fantastic. Yeah, look forward to hearing more once you kind of find out and figure out how.
We've had
Kind of
very
question.
good success with coaching from the DESE, through our other curriculum initiatives. So I'm hopeful that it will be helpful.
Are these coaches that work for them full-time, or do they take people from schools that are
They work-
doing well and then make them available?
They usually contract them out. Like one of our coaches is from TNTP, the organization that wrote the Opportunity Myth. They're from different organizations, but our math coach that we see weekly is from TNTP. They're all pretty high-level organizations.
Lots of smart people. Thank you.
And then just the last slide.
sorry.
Sorry, I know it's been a little bit. Just letting folks know what's coming up. Just a reminder, town meeting next, and then May 14th, we have a meeting. You're going to hear, that will be your first read for school choice and the first read for the school physician appointment. As a reminder, school committee has to appoint the school physician every year. The Dirty Hands Club, they're a club at North Andover Middle School. They reached out. They would like to come to school committee to share with you what they're doing. They are a club that supports mental health in North Andover, and this is their first year, so they're coming to talk to you. And the robotics team will be here to share with you a little bit about what they've been doing. And then following up in May, the next meeting will be the public hearing for school choice, and then you'll vote on that and the health, the physician. And Cheryl Barzak will be here to give just a small health update of what's happening. And just as a reminder, Cheryl Barzak's retiring at the end of this year. I think because that's sort of the last time in May, you'll get your budget update then. I will start my superintendent goals update for you. You're going to hear, you'll have the first read for student activity accounts, and you're going to get the first look at the strategic plan. And then June 4th will be your school committee reorganization. I'm assuming you'll do my superintendent evaluation at that time, and then your second read for student activity accounts, and it's your choice if you need a meeting in the 18th.
Yeah, we're going to keep holding it to see if we need it. Maybe not.
And Mr. Chairman, I am out of town on June 4th. I will not be able to attend.
Thank you.
I will have done my my sort of presentation on my goals on the 21st, so you probably will have like the rubric that you could do it between then
And we can,
pass it
if
off
you
to the
wanna-
chair.
Yeah, if you want to
Okay.
pre-submit
Yeah.
some
However that is.
comments and whatever, you
Yep.
want us to highlight things on your behalf, we can do that and enter it into the record.
I also would like to mention too that if there's any field trip that are coming up the beginning of next year, now is the time to bring them forward so that we have time.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
So can I just comment, this is very helpful, and I remember one of the sessions I went to when I went to the convention of the school committee members and the superintendents was to do this, and so it's kind of nice to see.
And
Thank
we had
you.
talked about having one of them. Are we still trying to go to the library?
We were
or
trying
no?
to go to the North Andover
Okay.
Library. like in the life, all the things that they've been ordering and are a little bit delayed, and it's not quite the way that they would love to present it to the world.
we'll get there.
And
Okay.
so
Okay.
we're thinking that will be a beginning of the year
Perfect.
Sounds
trip
great.
to the
Perfect.
library.
Mrs. Sams or Mrs. Cormier, negotiations, anything to add about negotiations update from last night with the,
No, so we had our second negotiation meeting, an open meeting with the North Andover Teacher Association. That was televised on North Andover CAM. So hopefully we have some community members who are interested, kind of listening and watching and hearing the dialogue. We took the opportunity last night to present what's important to the students of North Andover as we go through and think about the teaching assistants and the value that they bring to the table.
thank you. We met, I don't know if it was since, we met with the administrative assistants unit. We have a meeting we presented a bunch of counters to them. They submitted some counters back to us electronically. We are going to meet to discuss them early next week, and we'll reply to them at our next meeting on the 18th. Is that our next
I think it's the 18th or 19th.
18th, something like that. So we have a meeting coming up with them. We're making good progress. We have our
You're right,
proposed
18th.
18th. Thank you. We have our proposed meeting dates for the upcoming school year for next year, the August to December dates. This is information only. Please take a look at them. Our first meeting of the school year will be August 27th. Reminder that the schools open on
It's Wednesday.
first day of school is the 2nd, which means teachers will be reporting back on the 25th.
First day of school is the 2nd?
First day of
Right.
school, 1 to 12, is September 2nd. That's what's on the calendar that we have to re-vote on tonight.
Oh, because Labor Day is late. That is still before Labor Day. Labor Day is late.
Oh,
this year.
oh,
That's
Labor Day's
why we
late,
did-
sorry,
Labor Day
I
is
got
late,
confused.
yeah.
Okay, Labor Day's
Yes.
late, yes.
And
Labor Day's late.
teachers usually start,
2 days before that.
so they start on Thursday, the 27th, the same day as our first. They usually start on Thursday?
I think they start Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know, I have to go back and look, I'll be honest with you.
So just want to keep that in mind.
It's at the witching hour for me.
Do you want to know about conflicts with these dates? Now,
No conflicts yet.
so you don't want to know about, but I, like, one of the new dates I can't attend, just I know already, like, looking through the end of the year.
Bring
Wanna
them
know-
next time, we'll review them.
Next time?
Yeah,
Okay.
or email me, it's
All
fine.
right.
Or you want to email
Um,
Michelle. And I'll say that one of the reasons why we're asking you to do, usually you set them in the fall. One of the reasons why we're asking you to do this now is that it's really challenging for the middle school and high school because they have so many performances if they have to
makes sense.
wait. So this will give them some ways that they can set so that we're not having these competing dates.
Makes sense.
One thing I do want to flag to you, Madam Superintendent, is we typically have to, and Ms. Ando, if there's changes to the handbook, we will have to approve them before school starts. So we would have to have our second read on August 27th. So if there are changes you would like to make to the handbook, we would either need to have them June 5th or 18th, or it will just be the business, one of the things for our summer retreat.
Got it.
So just thinking ahead, which is going to be up on my list coming up.
Yes,
So
we
does-
had like an introductory discussion about it at our last principal meeting. We will keep pushing forward.
Yeah,
So does this mean we're not meeting over the summer
that's
then?
coming up on my
Okay.
list. So thank you, Ms. Ando, for being ahead of the game. Appreciate that. I
Good
just
job.
thought of that before. I was like, oh, they mentioned handbook before. I was like, oh yeah, we need to do that. Summer retreat. We should have one meeting this summer to do our typical work. It's usually a working session. One of the few times over the course of the year that we do a non-televised event, and we're usually working on something in particular. In years past, we've had trainings for our benefit. So I think we should schedule one. I think early August is typically good. I feel like we thought about something the other day. Mrs.
The
Latham.
leadership, the administrative leadership retreat is August 10th, 11th, and 12th. So whether you would like a retreat before, a super school committee retreat before that, or if you would prefer to have your school committee retreat after that to hear some updates from
But I'd only be able to come if it's before.
And then the second thing is like, what in particular would
Yeah.
would we be focused on learning? Mostly it's a learning opportunity for us.
I would be willing last summer, I'm not gonna be able to do it at the end of June this year, but at the end of June last year, we had a meeting with teachers about curriculum and materials. I would love, if it doesn't infringe on your work, I would love to do some work, possibly bring in some of our teacher leaders and department heads and do some learning together around high-quality instructional
That
materials
was a
and
great
curriculum.
meeting.
Yep.
It was, yeah. It was. I can't do it at the end of this, but I would love for you, because I think it's very important for you to talk to our teachers
Mhm.
about the work that they're doing, good and bad. You know what I mean? All the,
Yeah.
and so I would love to design something like a part 2, if you would like to engage in it.
Are you suggesting that it wouldn't be immediately after school in June, but sometime
That
in
could be the
July or August?
focus,
Is
that could be the focus of
Of your
our,
retreat.
of our retreat.
That could be the focus of the retreat. It could be a curriculum-based, if you would like.
I would appreciate at the retreat, maybe you could spend a little bit of time too thinking about presentations you like for that coming school year, so that we can start to get that on the
Mhm.
calendar as well.
Yep, so we could do two things, some learning and some planning.
Yeah, and it would also be interesting to maybe talk to what, was it MASC? What if this,
Mhm.
as we think about our year ahead, as we've been talking about, kind of our, budgeting and what type of education could we as school committee members have to kind of effectively, more effectively, work as we
Mhm.
look to enhance that. What are those things? I don't know what MASC might have to come in. If that's would be, I think that's, because we get free training through them, right? So what would be appropriate there?
I think before leadership retreat would be great.
Great. Do you want me to have
Um,
Michelle do like a little
Yeah,
doodle
do
poll
it
for
Targeting the
yeah.
first week and a half of August.
Or maybe, could we also just throw some dates out there for the end of July? Because I'm going at the beginning of August too.
I won't be here.
Yep.
I won't be here end of July.
Okay, so
We'll figure it
we'll
out.
figure it out. Yeah, so maybe do both dates around both, so we figure out when, if we all can't be there, just at least throw a few out there so we get a grouping.
I'll have Michelle put some dates
Okay.
out and
Yeah.
see what makes sense for all of you.
Okay.
Thank you. Educator Hall of Fame, reminder to everybody that nominations are due today.
Is it today?
Today.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like if they came in tomorrow, it'd be okay.
Do we know if we've received them?
I don't know.
There's one.
I know there's one.
Yes.
Okay.
When you'll be in charge of that process, Mrs. Cormier, to figure out
Yep.
scheduling with Mr. Landry and the
Yep.
committee and selecting one of us to join you in doing
Would
that.
anyone like to join and be the second school committee member?
This is
I
great.
love doing it, but I'm going to
No, I
like,
understand what it is. When is this gonna happen?
It's not scheduled yet, so if you volunteer, we would have the opportunity to work with Mr. Landry on what
it
a
usually
great date would be.
takes
So it's-
one meeting.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
It's one, usually you typically
I
get
would say
the
it's gonna be in
applications.
the month of May.
Yeah.
You typically get the.
This is gonna be one of my busiest Mays ever, which is why I'm not sort of,
And I think we
it
have
sounds
done
like
it
I
by,
would enjoy it, but
by video in the past,
Yeah.
virtually.
You don't all have to be in the same
Yeah.
spot. It's usually one meeting, you read everything
Yeah.
in advance.
Well, you know, Mr.
So-
Brown's not here, and you know the rule, when you don't come to a meeting, you get
You get
volunteered.
assigned, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that too, I'm like.
I'll touch base with Mr. Brown too, but I'm happy to.
you
be-
enjoy it.
I do, but it's
There you
like,
go.
I
It's nice of you to offer, and I would love to accept if it were different
so I'm not gonna
circumstance,
take the
I would.
opportunity away from anybody else who would like to do it, so. We'll get you a second. But you get to make the phone call to the person. That's my favorite part of it.
It's a good part.
It's a good part. Your mom enjoyed getting the phone call,
She
right?
did.
She must have thought it was just you calling to say hi.
Exactly, she thought it was awesome.
Kittredge School Building Committee update, come to town meeting and vote for the Kittredge School Fund. Continuing business, last time we discussed a small adjustment to our already approved calendar. The change would be adjusting Good Friday a little bit. So we would revise the calendar to change what was going to be a Wednesday early dismissal to a Friday early dismissal to actually coincide with the early dismissal on Good Friday.
Is that on this version of the calendar, or is this the existing?
It's March 26th, so that's green, that's an
okay.
early release.
So with that, I will entertain a motion.
I moved that we accept the revised 26-27 academic year calendar.
Thank you. Mrs. Sams?
Seconded.
Thank you. Miss Ando or Mrs. Lathrop, or Superintendent Lathrop, can you remind us the reasoning why?
We made this recommendation because Good Friday is a day that is celebrated by many of our staff, and it is a challenge for us to keep our schools open, to be honest, and to have higher substitutes during that time. We at first thought it was because it was sort of closely related to a holiday, to a vacation time. That was last year, but then again, we had the same issue this year. And because we have typically we would have an early release on that week, so we made the recommendation to move it to that Friday where the students would go home obviously early. We would be able to provide some professional development that could be self-directed, so those staff members that wanted to participate in religious activities could do that, and hoping that we'd have better attendance.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
The chair votes no, so 3-1. New business, overnight field trip request. Thank you so much for France, April 2027. Mrs. Ando.
I have not, oops. So your logistics are in your packet. It looks like this is a first read. And so there are details in your packet. And then if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
This is not your typical trip to France, to Paris and the Loire Valley. This is to a different location. I like it.
And it looks like they're going to stay with host families.
It says you could travel by coach, presumably not all the way.
No,
Probably
that'd
not
be
all the way there, right?
Special coach.
Right.
This must be in the south of France. If they're flying to Bilbao.
Biarritz is right on the Spanish border.
Right, because they're flying into
From
Belize,
Bilbao.
looks like, right?
Into Bilbao. If I'm saying that correctly. Awesome. Thank you so much. Forward any questions to Ms. Ando, and she'll get
Any questions, send them to me. Yep.
she'll get the information from Ms. Zawoui. I did not say her name correct.
Zawawi.
Zawoui. Thank you.
I do have a question, more kind of general question. So this one, they're staying with host families and the chaperones. How does it work with chaperones when they stay with host families?
That's a really great question. I can send it along. I'm not
Okay.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Public comment?
Already there?
Nobody
There's no
here?
public. Member comment?
Oh, I have a really quick one. We had the Crest board had a meeting yesterday morning. And the thing that was of interest, or might be to all of you, is and I mentioned this once before, they're working on systematic ways of decreasing per pupil transportation cost and finding significant economies to scale, like up to 20 or 30%, when you have more trips, which may mean from separate districts, but when they have some sort of optimizing routine, and they're finding that they're able to save substantial amounts of money. I don't know whether this would help our district or whether it wouldn't, but this is one area where the less money we spend on it, absolutely the better. And I guess I hope that there was a survey that they asked for. I don't know if we filled it out, but
Yeah.
it could be encouraging, and it'd be worth just being on top of it to see if it could help us or not.
We participate in the survey and we get some of that same information, so I agree, this could be helpful.
Thank you. Any other member comments?
Yeah. So I know over the past several years, the Sustainability Committee had put a lot of work into our schools, working on composting and recycling. And it's my understanding they're not going to be able to have that funding anymore. So just wondering, thinking about what we can do to help keep those efforts going for our students to be environmentally conscious.
just very quickly, so you have the background in that, the municipality, so the DPW had participated in a grant that brought in somewhere between like $7,000 and $10,000, and then the town manager supplemented the composting program in North Andover, which the schools participate in, which costs roughly about $30,000 to $35,000, somewhere around there. As you know, the municipal side did take a smaller percentage in budget increases and have made some budget cuts, and this is one that they weren't able to continue to sustain the funding, the additional funding they put in for the composting, where they come in, they take the food scraps and make the compost and do that. We did meet with the person who oversees that from the town side, and knowing that the town wasn't going to be able to take it over. We looked at it from the school side. Originally thought that we would we would support applying for the grant, but the grant is probably, we're like estimating somewhere between 7 and 10 for next year, and the cost for the composting, the additional company that they use for composting, could be upwards to $50,000 next year. Still sort of between that range of 30 to 50. Unfortunately, I believe in it. I think it's a wonderful program. I don't think it would be the right decision to pledge operating budget finances to that amount of money in order to sustain the program. And we're not moving forward with the grant because the grant really, to us, I had Mr. Landry work with the DPW. It is largely centered around municipalities, and that grant would basically pay the salary of the person that sort of ran the composting piece, but without being able to do the it's like chicken and egg, I guess, kind of thing. We still have in our budget the stipend that we give to our schoolhouse leaders, what we call the green team. So that money does still exist, and so we are looking at how they might be able to restructure what they're doing in the buildings. Many of the folks, and I think Ally sort of alluded it to it when she said the green team that was here, many of the folks in the high school predominantly, because they have, not predominantly, because I know I've talked to some of the elementaries, but the high school students perhaps maybe have like a garden and have some things where they're using that. But I did talk to some of the to one in particular elementary person who is the leader of the green team, and that person has reached out to a few of the others, and they're willing to do a little legwork to see if there are other companies that are a little bit less expensive. So that's sort of where we are right now with that.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, just to kind of bring you something we've talked about several times already, but we just would like to encourage parents and voters to come out to town meeting on May 12th. We've extremely important vote for approving a new school building at Kittredge School for our community. It's going to require a 2/3 vote, which is a high bar. We need people to attend town meeting. I mean, it's hard for all of us to get there. So just encouraging people to make their plans for them and their spouse, if possible, if exists, to get there, bring their friends, bring your neighbors. It is both Chairman Hicks and Superintendent Lathrop already have said, but building this new school isn't just about rebuilding Kittredge. It's about impacting all of our elementary schools and all of our students, with no increase to all of us who are paying taxes as the residents here in town. We can do that based on how our town manager has managed the town finances. And we have an amazing coupon from the state. Is it 30 million? I love a coupon, right?
Nice 35% off coupon.
Yeah, coupon.
Yes.
That this is the opportunity where we can do that. And if we don't get enough vote, 2/3, we need 2/3, we won't get that school. And our students, our residents, we need this for our kids. People need to show up, I would ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next official meeting will actually be right before a town meeting. We'll have a space at the high school. We'll be there. It's not televised. We usually sit in eat dinner. So look out for your menu options. I'm thinking we try Flip the Bird this year.
What time do you want us there? 5:30?
It's on our count, don't we have it?
I think she said 5:30.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
We'll get that out. So that's my suggestion for food. Then town meeting will officially start at 6:30. Be there, please. We'll be back in person here for our next business meeting on Thursday, May 14th at 6:30. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm gonna move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mrs. Sams.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Moskovich.
Yes.
Mrs. Sams.
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier.
Yes.
Chair votes yes.